So, a question I actually get quite often, how do you do a wire tuck? Like, how can you be bothered? Why do you make your life difficult? It looks good. You know, when you look in a bay and you don't see any wires, it's very aesthetically pleasing. This is my way of doing it. So step one is get all the wires that were nicely taped up in the first place and take all the tape off them. Step two, take said wire and cut it. Step 3, regret decision immediately. So it's day, actually I don't even know what day it is, like let alone what day of quarantine we're in, but yeah. My paddle clutch came, which pretty buzzing about. A couple of little niggles in regards to fitting, I'll get onto that in a bit. Before that, because I'm waiting on a few things, I haven't really been that busy at the Sierras last couple of weeks or so, but I've been tidying up some wiring and getting a few things to work, so we'll maybe take a look at that. I had said about changing the colour of the hoses because they were all blue and it doesn't really work with the theme of the car, so now I've got everything converting to red slowly but surely as it comes from eBay. It's kind of where the only place you can really get stuff at the minute is. This is still an absolute rat's nest. This is actually the old loom. I don't think I need any of this, but just to be on the safe side, I'm keeping it here until I know the car works, and then I'm just gonna give it the vasectomy. So like the rest of these hoses will all be changed in due time. Sort of doing wee bits of tidying up with the wiring. Scratched away here, made this a body earth. The rest of the body earths, like for instance the lights and the engine earth on this side, and my fans will probably still just be earthed to a body pin here because it's easy. I actually have an update on the engine itself. So the likes of this, for instance this is the relocation bar for what was originally a power steering pump on here. The likes of just some of these lines, like water hoses and stuff, my gearbox adapter, and the likes of my thermostat housing plate, all that I've just decided to touch up and paint just because, yeah, why not? It just makes it look so much fresher and so much cleaner. Maybe you can't see this, but this is actually my oil filter relocation. So I'm actually using a Nissan SR20 oil filter because my mate Jack gave me his thermoplate, which I'm using. This is just an eBay adapter, and these lines are coming from my engine block and out to the oil cooler. I used hydraulic lines. If I was to do it again, I wouldn't use hydraulic lines. They are an absolute nightmare to work with, but happy with where it's mounted. The oil cooler's getting good air through the grill, and then the front mount gets all the air through the bumper, so it's, I hope, an optimal setup. While the engine's out, I've actually had time to do a few other stupid wee bits and pieces. For instance, I never had proper working headlights since the car went in the shed. Don't know whether it's corroded wires or whatever, but sort of just to check. I know it's not really a difficult job, but spliced off my dip beam wire. I managed to get dip beam over the other side, so wasn't sure where it was. I have a feeling the issue lies further back up here somewhere. If you want to work in older cars, I can't really speak for newer cars because I've never had anything to do with them, but older cars, you need to get yourself a Haynes manual. These things are absolutely class, if not at least just for the wiring. I now have working fog lights, which I never actually had, and I've also managed to put new sidelights and new headlights in because this thing desperately needed it. Old early 1990s headlights just wouldn't be the most fantastic. To take a closer look, obviously we'll ignore all these wires, but I've done away with all the wires that move down this side. This here's just an earth line, and I've done away with all the wires that ran down this side by putting them through the wing and taking them out here. So if you were to stand stare at my engine bay, pretending those wires aren't here, you wouldn't actually see any of the wires around the engine, and anything else would be blocked off. So I'm pretty happy with that. Managed to do the fog lights just, well, relay setup the same way I've done my brakes and my power steering, so nothing different there. Cheers to my mate Mark Fillon for the the diagram. I wasn't sure what way to take it, but for the lights, or for the actual switch inside the car, because I wanted to try and keep it OEM, so big ups for him sorting me the diagram for that. Appreciate it. Managed to get the tripod off in the end. I still can't believe how well this lined up with my my Omega adapter. Getting the tripod off was actually an absolute nightmare. I tried it myself with just a pair of pullers and the impact gun, and it wasn't working. Had to take it to a proper engineering place and get a real heavy set of tripod pullers to bring it out. Reason turns out it was so awkward was that someone had clearly in the past tried to seat this lock nut on with Loctite, and the Loctite just ended up going down into the splines. Figured I may as well treat myself to a new slave cylinder and release bearing when I'm at it. This is your crankshaft spigot, and your input shaft slides into that, and then I use this spacer for my because obviously I'm running a BMW box, so I need a spacer so it works with a Saab engine, and then it's an interference fit, so I just need to find some way of beating this into this without doing any damage. And then I need to look on to welding this spacer onto the flywheel, and that should be everything ready to bolt up. So one of the jobs I have to do here, and I'm not looking forward to this in case I end up messing it up, is weld this spacer onto the flywheel so the whole thing sits together. So that's tacked on, and the spigot put in. Not a fan of how I'm going to get them bolts out, to be honest, but be grand for what I'm doing for now anyway. Well, the friction disc is on, and made my own mounting piece for centering the clutch, literally out of a bolt, some insulation tape, and a bit of rubber hose. It's the pressure plate on, and the handy thing about using a bolt, pull it off with a socket. I had been warned about this. Yeah, I need to cut a bit out of my bell housing because it doesn't go by the starter. Well, I have the gearbox on now, so happy with that. What I'm not overly happy about is, well, two things. One, bit of paint chipped off from fitting, but like, you know, not the end of the world. And I also don't like the way that I had to do the cutout and notch the bell housing to get the starter in. Maybe in the future I'll look into getting like a cast cover or something on this. So the other part that I've been finally waiting on that I'm absolutely buzzing to show is my exhaust manifold. So we'll go take a look at this now. So it's a tubular setup replacing my original log manifold that I had. Simply just because the tubular is kind of the last piece of the puzzle, because I am going for higher horsepower, hence the BMW box. It flows better, still have the position for my wastegate. It's done by SAS Auto Customs in England, as they already had the flange for the Saab, and they do a lot of the Saab work, and the Saab guys really rate them, so I thought it was a good call to go to. They've managed to put my turbo position in the exact same place as my log manifold. So fitting this, you know, to the setup that I have done by Simon at Limitless should be hopefully fairly smooth. Anyone who's ever thrown an engine in a car knows it can get pretty awkward. This is a heavy brute, and due to the isolation thing, I have to do it on my own. So I'm kinda not looking forward to this bit. Having my engine this high up in the air gives me the absolute fear. Should have known we were going to have issues as well. Out where the crank sensor goes, it decided to leak because I didn't drain the engine. Yeah, I really hope that's the last time I have to take out that engine. Hopefully the next video this thing will be up and running.